What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brendan and I'm B-Man X45, and today we're coming at you with another video. We have a video for the Digimon TCG. We are looking into possible hits and restricted, for the new ban list. We had North American Finals. Worlds is coming in March. A lot of the times we actually see a ban list before Worlds. A lot of people are expecting it right now. March is kind of, you get one in August, end of August, beginning of September, and then you get one kind of in March. So we're expecting another restricted list twice a year is kind of usually what they do. They take a look at everything and see what's really become a problem in the game. So we're going to be looking in and just, kind of hypothesizing, theorizing what we think we're going to see on that list, what cards we think we believe need to be hit. Now, I was looking at it and I had a hard time really picking out a lot of different cards. I feel like there's a few choice cards that really seem to kind of come up over and over and over again, but nothing that really felt not a lot really felt like a few choice cards that really felt like they needed to be potentially hit. Something needed to be hit. So we have to look into it here, and we're going to look at all this kind of stuff and just kind of see where we come up with and what we come up with. And hey, if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single minute of the fun. All right, well, getting right into it, we're just going to look at what we had last time. So last time, they banned Sayo and Co., the blue version. It was a restricted pair. It had been a restricted pair, so you couldn't play this card with Zubamon, Keenan Crier, or Matashita because they created potential loops for you to use every turn, really. They had limited Gravity Crush to 1 and Parabolic Junk, both really good zero-cost options that help you gain to at least 2 memory. They had hit Royal Knights of the Purge, which had kind of neutered Royal Knights a little bit. It had been really powerful. The deck's still really powerful, but you don't see it topping as much. They had killed Gankoomon and Hudiemon, which was really sad because it was like we finally got an X-Antibody for this line. I thought that might have been a little bit of a mistake. I thought there is a card they should have hit, but they didn't, and we're going to talk about that as well. They had hit Growlmon X, they'd hit Rush Guillaumon, they hit so many things. They hit Metal Garurumon to 1, these were all hits to 1. And Sakuyamon BT19, as well as a Digivolution Plug. And then they had banned you playing Valderarm with any of these Sakuyamon cards right here for a limited pair. And so yeah, there had also been a couple. Those are the only banned pairs. But yeah, they had changed a lot of that stuff. So that was kind of the last major hit we got to the game. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look at what I think are some problem cards in this current format. And most of them are from newer decks, I would say. Pretty new. I think the oldest one in this thing is EX8. So decks that are doing really, really good right now are, of course, Time Stranger's been doing really good. Hudimon's been doing really good. Jesmon seems to at least be taking one spot per, consistently taking at least 1 or 2 spots per event. You have other things that have started to do well. Venusmon has started to do well. I don't think Venusmon is really on the board yet. I feel like, especially like when it's like only one top, but it's not every event. I feel like Venusmon's something we potentially could see a hit for in the future if it doesn't get power creeped, but I feel like it's right now. Another thing that's doing really well is Rocks, and Rocks is a hard one for me to pick out what the problem is. I mean, what do you hit? And I mean, I feel like Tumblemon's the obvious culprit in that deck because he gains you so much memory from just being able to reattach multiple copies with your reattach effects and then trash with fragment or trash with other things, and the fact that it can gain you memory on both turns, so you can interrupt your opponent's turn by using fragment to get around Digivolution. I feel like this guy is unfortunately potentially the target. I don't know if he's the problem, but I feel like he's the target, and a lot of people are saying he's the target just because unlimited memory gain is really good, and you can really plan out your turns when you know how much memory you'll get back from using an effect or preventing deletion. It's so good. So I feel like it's a hard one because, like I said, like it's hard to know like what's the card that's really, because I don't feel like the Landramons, the Programmons, or the Sunrizamons are overly broken, any of them. So I just don't feel like, and the boss monsters too, maybe, but like we've changed, like we don't use EX8 anymore, we use EX10, and now we got EX11. You got so many different options. I don't think it changes anything if you hit one of those guys. Maybe you would hit Magnetic Dramon. I don't think that's necessarily the option either, but because I mean they're only as good as the amount of sources they have, and so if you can't get your sources into the trash, they just don't do anything for you. So I think Tumblemon is probably the most likely culprit if there is a hit to the Rock Mineral deck. And for Jesmon, I think the most likely hit is going to be Gankoomon X-Antibody. The protection that this guy provides is insane. It should have not provided that kind of protection to non Royal Knight or non Sistermon, Huckmon cards, but it provides protection to any Digimon you put on the board, and that I think is necessarily the problem. I think like being able to put a bunch of floodgates on the board and protect those is from effects is very bad for the game, especially when if you try to attack, you then just Jesmon GX and screw up your ace, and you screw up your opponent's entire play, and you can redo it very easily and very consistently. I think that this is the card that makes that deck very unfun to play. Like Jesmon as a whole, I like pure Jesmon. I think it's a really great deck. It's really fun. It actually has a better matchup against the Ganku version, but unfortunately everything else has a better matchup against pure Jesmon. Whereas this Ganku X stuff, I feel like this is the card that needs to go to 1, because it's just basically like when you see that many copies of it, that's kind of where you run into the problem of it. I mean, like once it's in the trash, it can be potentially, reused again and again and again. But I just think that it just needs to be a less of a chance that you get this card. That's the only thing I think I can say. Everything else feels pretty balanced in that deck. I would say that this is the card that needs to get hit if they feel like Jesmon needs to get hit. And again, this doesn't top a lot, but if they're looking for cards to like change what it does consistently, top at least once, I think, in an average event. We also put, of course, Hudiemon on here. Hudiemon, I don't necessarily know is a problem. We put a bunch of different Hudiemon cards on here. We put Chitose, Palmon, and Terriermon just because they all kind of combine to create a problem, which is the loop. I don't want to see Hudiemon get hit. I would rather much see the loop get hit, maybe a banned pair. Maybe if you play Hudiemon in your deck, you cannot play these ones because they're the CS tamers from the other game and not necessarily the CS, promote you to play the Hoodie rookies, CS rookies, instead of the OG CS rookies. Maybe Chitose is the problem because being able to bounce him and put him back on the board allows you to do the loop. So if you have less of a chance of seeing a Chitose, maybe that's the better play. I don't know. I'm thinking the band pair might be a good idea. That way you could leave these cards and they would be fine. I think they'd be just because you wouldn't see this consistent loop that you're getting. So I don't know. I think the band pair to me seems the most just logical thing. But like I said, I feel like they could hit Chitose as as another option. I don't think Hudiemon needs to get hit. I really don't think Hudiemon needs to get hit. I think that would really ruin the deck. So I think that in itself is fine, but I wanted to put it on here because basically this, and this create the problem. So you either got to hit something or you do a limited pair, and that's how I feel on that one. Another thing here, of course, we have Venusmon with the new Time Stranger with Homerus. I put Homerus on this list. I don't think Homerus needs to get a hit right away, maybe in the future, but I feel like, there's ways to get around Homerus. So I feel like the problem here is being able to put this in any TS deck and then potentially shut down your opponent for multiple turns if you have Homerus. Especially when you could play her, and if you don't pass turn, you can then throw down Homerus to pass turn, and you're just lol to your opponent, and that's kind of because there's well, I'm going to be doing this for 2 turns. Have fun. It's pretty oppressive. It's pretty oppressive, and so I think that potentially I don't think we want to see a hit on Homerus. I think maybe we need to see a hit on OG Venusmon. We have a new Venusmon, so it's not like it's the worst thing in the world to happen, but this card has been in the game and been an oppressive part of the game for a long time through multiple different decks and multiple different decks that have been hit. It's been oppressive through Numamon and other decks and stuff like that. It's been part of Hudiemon. It's been part of so many decks that have just taken multiple spots in the top, and you got to start looking at it and say, okay, I know it's just a win more card, but is it part of the problem? And I feel like, especially with Homerus and Time Stranger decks now, it is probably going to be part of the problem. So I feel like Venusmon potentially could see a hit, but let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I also put Growlmon X-Antibody in here because the purple Growlmon engine has been played in so many different decks and so many different tops. You'll have different decks, you'll have Venusmon, you'll have Megidramon, you'll have Gallantmon, you'll have just purple Leviamon with Gallantmon and a Growlmon X engine. And it's okay, well, it's not the same deck topping, but it is the same deck topping because they all use the same Growlmon X low end, and this card has escaped a couple ban lists. I think a lot of people thought that this card was dead come August, but instead they killed, this is where I was kind of a little bit pissed, they killed Garudamon X over this card. And I guess it was probably a way because they were killing the other Growlmon and the Rush Geomon. I kind of feel okay, we don't want to kill this card, but unfortunately, I feel like this guy needs to go to 1. He doesn't need to be banned, but he needs to go to 1. I feel like that would stop this kind of Growlmon X engine play in so many different decks. It's unfortunate because this is the card that really made Gallantmon good finally. It really is. This is the card that finally allowed Gallantmon to consistently top, and that's what I believe. And it sucks to see that go, but I feel like we're going to get, more support. And I feel like this is probably people were saying that I think War Growlmon, the one that lets you kind of free Digivolve if you don't pop something 4K or lower, it lets you free Digivolve into or Digivolve into Gallantmon, but for the cost reduced by I think 2. People were saying that that was also a problem, but I just don't feel like it's, it may be a problem in that specific deck, but the fact is that Growlmon X is a problem in a slew of decks. And that's kind of where it comes up, is the fact is that you're seeing so many different decks use this low end, meaning that it's creating better outcomes for a lot of decks that would have played something else in the other case. So I feel like he's high on the list for hits. I feel like Mineral Rocks is probably decently high. This might be kind of mid to low high, and then the Hudiemon obviously I feel is high along with Growlmon X. I feel like this is probably not potentially a high priority. Last thing I threw in here was Tropical Venom because it's the only zero cost option that gets you 2 memory that has not been hit. They hit like we said, Parabolic Junk. They hit Gravity Crush. They had already hit Hammer Spark, which only gains you 1 memory unless it's hit off security. They had previously, the ban list before that, or the restricted list before that, they had hit both Blinding Ray, and what is it? I can't even remember now. The purple one. It's eluding me. But yeah, the purple one that gains you a memory for every 10 you have in trash, and for some reason I just can't think of it right now. But it's gonna be over here. It's right around Jack Raid. So Jack Raid was the other one. Blinding Ray. They both got hit at the same time. So they hit 2, and then the next one they hit 2 more. And then they hit Hammer Spark like a long time, or actually no, not even a long time ago. They hit Hammer Spark when they did TK and Bukamon. So yeah, and so this is really the last zero cost option in the game. You gain, on deletion, lose 2 memory, but it has come up. Zephygamon has topped, and it's before we got the EX11 support, so potentially this card could become a better card. I mean, I'm playing one in my Zephygamon. Other people might be playing more, right? So this could be like a really, really good card. I think one of the players at top was playing multiple copies, maybe 2 or 3 copies of Tropical Venom in his deck. So I mean, if card decks like that with like Zephygamon or other green decks start to do better with this card, it could need a hit in the future. I'm just putting it on there because it's like, whatever. It's like, it's the last one, right? Like just do it. Just do it. Don't make us wait. But yeah, I could see it being hit, but it's kind of more like a fun little thing, like end it, please, end the cycle. So that's what we have for our kind of hypothesis. There might be more things that we didn't think about, but we were looking at the top 16, Hudiemon, Time Stranger. The only thing I could think about for Time Stranger was Venusmon or Homerus. But really, I didn't think Homerus deserved a hit right away. So I figured most of the decks, and including the ones that topped higher, including the Jupitermon deck, had the Venusmon in it. So I was kind of like, okay, well, that seems like to be a common denominator and stuff like that. I just don't think any of the tamers really need to get hit right away. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off on my hypothesis. Diaboromon is fine. It doesn't top that much, so let it have some grace period where you see if it does better and better. But Hudiemon taking a huge spot, Time Stranger taking a huge spot, like I said. Rox has been kind of taking a couple spots consistently. Medusa's pretty new. Masty, I couldn't think of anything wrong with Masty because I played Masty, and it's a good deck, but it's also a DNA deck, so sometimes you just aren't able to do stuff. So that's unfortunate. And I just couldn't think of anything that really, really, needed to be hit. And then, of course, like I said, Jesmon and Gankoomon, Jesmon with Gankoomon. It's been topping fairly recently. These guys are new, so I didn't think they needed anything. Just because it tops once doesn't mean it needs to be hit. But these are things that have been topping consistently since they came out, or since the last ban list. Like I said, like this, we've always had a problem with this card. We've always had a problem with this card. These problems with this and potentially this or this are fairly new, but they've been consistently topping since they came out, whether it was BT23 or BT24. And Rox we have been having a problem with since EX10. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this. What do you guys think about these cards that I have chosen? Are they what you think is going to potentially be on this ban list? Do you think there's going to be more? Do you think there's more things that they absolutely need to hit? And what did I miss? Please let me know down in the comments. But let me know what you guys thought of this video. And as always, when we have a ban list, we will bring it to you guys as soon as possible. But looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. And as always, have a wonderful day. And that's all for now, folks.